He's the voice you trust for the teams you love. You're listening to Marc Daniels and the Beat of Sports.
Happy Friday, and off we go. It's the Beat of Sports. Glad you're with us. You got one more, after this weekend, one more weekend before football. And then every weekend for a month. About that.
So great.
Not that long.
I think I'm down to 83 days until my trip to Dallas or trip to Lambeau.
Okay. Well,
So,
here you go.
Counting that down.
Welcome to the Friday edition of our program. I'm Marc Daniels. Chris Vasquez is over there. You doing good, Chris? You all right?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm really good. I mentioned in the bridge, had a nice dinner last night. My wife and I went out with my son-in-law-to-be's parents, my youngest daughter, getting married next year. And we had a great time. They'd never been to Park Avenue. I've lived in Orlando for like 30 years.
Really? Never been to Park Ave?
Never gone. Yeah.
Wow.
So we went down there. Nice dinner at Prado last night.
Was the evening nice enough for a stroll after dinner?
So I think he came in late on the bridge. We had dinner reservations at 6:15. Had a wonderful dinner, good food and good conversation. Prado was typically packed, everything. And then they bought dinner. They insisted they want to pay for dinner.
Do we
Double up on the app. No. It was nice. And then AJ's Chocolate House is at the end of Park Avenue out towards Fairbanks. Now, we got out. For me, it's not a long walk. Okay. Someone's in shape. No. I said, you guys want to drive walking? No, we'll walk. I'm like, okay. Because at 8:15, it's still 92 degrees out.
Oh, gross.
So we get there. Okay. Went a nice time. Had a nice little dessert. A little decaf cappuccino.
Then I'll walk back.
And then a walk back where it's still 90. Okay, and on the walk back, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, not such a great idea now for you guys here, huh? Is it?
You're just working off the food you just ate.
Yeah. Well, my wife goes, can the air get hotter? I mean, cooler in the car? Is there any chance? Honey, it can't go below 54 right now in the car, okay? Now, we had a nice time. It was really good.
Nice.
Yeah. Summertime in Park Avenue is nice. So, yeah, it was good.
Very nice.
We got a busy show. I mentioned at the end of the bridge, Joel Corey, who writes for CBS Sports and done it for a long time. Joel used to be an NFL agent, and you read his stuff on football. Does a lot of really good stuff on contract analysis and things like that. So I appreciate Joel's work. But it is the 30-year anniversary of when Shaq left the Magic, the summer of '96. And I had remembered, but until he reposted a story that he wrote 10 years ago, it triggered my brain. Joel was Leonard Armato's assistant. A young Joel Corey was Leonard Armato's assistant. He was there for almost every meeting with the Magic, involved in everything. And he's going to join us because Joel, to this day, still believes it's the biggest blunder a sports owner ever made in losing a player like that. And when I read it, it triggered some stuff that I didn't remember. Like, oh, my God. And again, it's one side's view, but it's great. Joel will be on about 10:35, 10:40. Richard Hill with his weekly sports law segment, a whole bunch of other stuff to get to. We come back. Yeah, loyalty is a one-way street. And I'll remind you that, particularly for UCF fans that are upset about a basketball player that, as I know, has a deal to play someplace else if he gets eligibility. I'll explain a little bit more about it, but first, everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? One Forrest one.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CV's dad joke of the day.
That's so great.
Oh, Mark, I got to end the week strong here.
Okay. By the way, somebody yelled at me last night about you.
What did I do?
They want the joke posted.
Man. All right. I'll go back to.
Got to give the people what they want. Go ahead.
I apologize. All right. Mark, what would you be if you went to a ghost birthday party?
I don't know, Chris. What would I be if I went to a ghost birthday party?
You'd be the life of the party.
Maybe you don't post that one. The Beta Sports, you can access this show at 96.9 FM, 740 AM to listen live. Also on the iHeart app anywhere in the world. Download that free app. Make it a preset button. And, of course, you can watch the show on the video stream at our YouTube page, 96 The Game Orlando. Access that stream also on Twitter at 96.9 Game On. Chris, remember a couple of days ago, I was telling you the one constant thing in college football, it's the fan.
Yep.
I mean, you're the one constant. Coaches come and go, players come and go, especially in this current era. So I want to share a little bit. I think people that are UCF fans saw Jermichael Stillwell, who played basketball at UCF last year, and in my opinion, was as important as anybody. He and Themis Folks, who he played with at Milwaukee the year before, were two very key pieces that led to UCF making the NCAA tournament. And Stillwell, without a doubt, was the toughest dude I saw all year. Second half of the year, played on one foot, lived in a walking boot except when he practiced and the ball went up for a game. Stillwell, like a lot of people, were told their eligibility was up. Jermichael Stillwell played at Miami-Dade Community College, went to Butler Community College, then played at Milwaukee and played at UCF. He thought his college eligibility was up. And then when he saw other people get involved in lawsuits because of, hey, should junior college count? Should I get a fifth year like other guys are getting fifth year? When's a 5-for-5 thing? He put his name on a lawsuit that was filed in Georgia, which is where he's from. But Stillwell put out on Twitter, hey, I'm coming back. If I get that year, we got heart emojis and everything. And UCF fans got all excited. It was easier said than done on a couple of fronts. One, UCF, like a lot of schools, not knowing who's going to be eligible, who's not, simply had to move on from a dollar standpoint to build a roster for the upcoming season. There was discussion internally at UCF. I'm sharing some stuff, but some other things I won't. But hey, if he gets eligible and comes back, we'll figure out a way to find X. And the two sides had discussed X, meaning how much money. Okay? People then saw yesterday when Jermichael Stillwell put out a tweet basically saying, sorry, UCF, night forever, and I'm paraphrasing here. People also then quickly found when Jermichael Stillwell posted a tweet basically taking a shot at Jordan Burks, who played for UCF last year, and he's going to play at Oklahoma State next year, saying, is this you? Let me just explain a couple things, okay? I know exactly how much Jermichael Stillwell's deal will be if he plays at Texas Tech. I was told yesterday, 100% confidence. I know what the deal is. It's north of 7 figures, not 8 figures, but it's more than $1 million. It's believed that Texas Tech is at school, and I'm not telling you it's not. I didn't tell you it was, but I'm not telling you it's not. It's a big deal. It's a massive number. The problem that everybody has here is, remember, loyalty is a one-way street often. You're loyal. You're the fan. You care about the team. You care about the 3 letters on the front. It is hard to expect players that play for 4 schools in 4 years to have the same passion that you do for that logo and for those letters or the name. The fan in you gets angry at Jermichael Stillwell because you would think if he's going to play basketball, he said he was going to play here, and he's not going to play here. And I have no doubt that he'll get at least a temporary judge ruling that will allow him to play this year. Even though the NCAA yesterday was adamant they're going to keep fighting it, I'm sure he's going to get it. Why? Because the other school in the conference plans on him getting it, and they put a heck of an offer, and he's going to take it if he gets eligible. And here's the deal. If you were his age and you were presented with that money, you would be an idiot if you didn't take it. It doesn't ease your pain as a fan, but you couldn't pass that up. Yeah, but he posted this. Yeah, and get over a tweet. Okay? Listen, it sucks. Me. I'm a fan. It sucks because you know why? Because, and I've told this, Jordan Burks is taking less than UCF offered to go to Oklahoma State. I don't care what anybody tells you. I know that deal. Okay? And he got bad advice from an agent. And he ended up with fewer offers than that. Jordan Burks is going to play for his 9th school in 8 years. 5 high schools in 4, 4 colleges in 4. Is there anything wrong with it? No, because that system allows him to do it. Now, he may have gambled and guessed wrong on the finances, this particular deal, but does it bother me? Yeah, because you know what? With John Bull coming back at center, JaMychal Stillwell at power forward, and Jordan Burks in the wing, UCF would have been a preseason top 25 team and would have had a better chance to get back to the NCAA tournament. Not saying that they can't get back there, but bringing back proven commodities that had played in the system would go a long way. You could yell at JaMychal Stillwell. You can post things on Twitter. I'm sure he's a little bit, not a lot, a little bit embarrassed that he put those tweets and what he took down. But in the current model, he can't turn that down. I told you the figure, right, Chris? Last night?
Not the
amount?
Not the exact.
I'll tell you. Can he turn that down?
No.
He can't.
No.
I know what UCF was going to be able to give him. He can't. Is it fair? Life ain't fair, baby. Okay? And it's like, and then if you want to get in the Twitter fight with fans of that school that are going to come back and go, well, that's why you're a little community school and we got the money. Do that all day.
I don't think fans are necessarily mad at JaMychal Stillwell for doing what he's got to do for him, his family, this and that. I think it's just the fact that just a few months ago, UCF, if I can, I'm coming back, baby.
I understand that. I do. I understand that. But we're a few years into this that you've got to understand the game, that's going to happen. I mean, I played the clip yesterday of the 5-star plus running back that did the whole hat game, and we're going to Tennessee. He didn't sign anything. And if Ohio State comes back and says 3.5, and he says, wow, and Tennessee goes, we're not going to go any higher than 2.4, and he goes to Ohio State, it's the same thing. It's the system. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, the system's going to be different. It ain't going to be perfect. And we'll look back and go, gosh, that's how we did stuff in 2026. Okay? Is JaMychal Stillwell a bad dude because he's at 4 schools in 4 years? That's for you to decide how you view people. I enjoyed the year that Michael was here. He gave a heck of an effort for UCF. He was a big part of why they went to the NCAA tournament. Is it easy to say I tip your cap and go and it stinks because you're the loyal one. You're the one-way street. Is Jordan Burks a bad person because he's on his 9th school in 8 years? No. Now, he and his agent gambled wrong. But anyway, and it doesn't ease the pain, but John Bull, who did come back, was offered a lot more money to leave. A lot more money. Why'd he stay? His family likes it here, meaning they like him at UCF in an environment that they feel is good for him. So I'm not saying, hey, for every 2 you leave, you get to keep 1. It ain't easy. And you say, well, how does it change? Come on, man. You know the answer to that question. How does it change? You got money, which is not easy for some places. And in other places, yeah, one guy and a couple of his friends can fund an entire athletic department that then gives their fan base a chance to go on Twitter, pound the chest, and say, we buy whoever we want. Okay. And if UCF fans, we're 3-1 against it, which is true. Okay. But you play that game all day. The simple fact is, it's a business. And when Lee Hunter left UCF, I've told the story before. I saw Lee, and he goes, man, Mark, I didn't want to leave. I loved UCF, but it was life-changing money. For JaMychal Stillwell, who may never play in the NBA, and a chance to go back to college, Chris, is that life-changing money?
Yeah.
Heck, Keyshawn Hall, who played at UCF 2 years ago, who went to Auburn, who was on the Heat Summer League team. Keyshawn Hall played for the Heat Summer League team. He's trying to get more eligibility to go back and play. Yeah. And by the way, you know what JaMychal Stillwell's argument could be? Ready? Hey, junior college shouldn't count. If that's the case, I got at least 2 more years left. Because I played 2 to junior college. I played 1 at Milwaukee. 1 at UC. I should have at least 2 years left. Find a judge. So be upset. He was offered an amount that UCF was never going to match. Never going to match. And as I understand, once he gets the eligibility, it's a done deal. It is done deal pending eligibility. Got to get over it because that's just the system that we're working in, man. 10 o'clock hour, WYGM Orlando, WJR HD2 Cocoa Beach. I didn't say it was easy. Not easy being Bobby from Bowegans who's here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Mark, how you doing?
I'm good. I asked you how your week was outside of being hot. Good week? Busy?
It's been a good week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always busy. I'm always running around, but pumping out some beers, always working on new stuff. So
Your world's no
pretty good.
different than these guys.
Yeah, just the money part.
Life
maybe.
ain't fair sometimes, man. It's just, you
Maybe
know.
He al-
that kind of contract.
He also stays in one spot. He doesn't jump from brewery to brewery to brewery to brewery.
No, but you know what? He deals with employees that sometimes have opportunities. You got to weigh, is it worth my investment to keep or not, man? It's no different. It's everyday life,
It's a
man.
different scale, Chris. I mean, I am also, part owner of the Packers, so I get it.
Hello.
From a professional
Me and
sports
Jerry Jones
ownership.
have more in common than you do, Chris. Okay, so
So
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
yeah. What's happening? What'd you bring in today, man?
Yeah, so today we're gonna start rolling back here. We brought in one of our core beers that we haven't talked about in a little while, and this is one of my favorites here. It's Daydream Tangerine. It's an American wheat ale with tangerines, and perfect for this summer, for this heat year round in Florida.
Nice.
There you go. Watching the live stream, I know I always talk about my glassware. I did not bring the fanciest glassware today, so don't judge
Hey.
me on that. But
The official cup of summertime is a red solo cup.
That
man,
it is.
okay? It's a red solo.
That
cup.
it is.
Yeah. What's the history of this one?
yeah, so this is one we were just looking to kind of add to our portfolio, and we had done some wheat beers here and there, and was really looking for something. It was in the middle of summer. It was super hot. I was in the brew house. It's probably over 100 degrees. I'm trying to come up with new beers, and just thought of doing this wheat style beer with a good amount of this natural tangerine flavor, and how we can pump that in there and get something nice, light, crisp, refreshing, but full flavored. And kind of did this one, and we talked before, sometimes beers take a few iterations to go through, and
Yeah.
we go through different versions of them. We did this one the first time, and it just sold out immediately. And I thought, well, that's probably a good sign. Maybe we'll try to bring that back, and we just kept bringing it back, and it worked its way into the core lineup within the first probably 6 weeks.
The challenge of something that can be so tart.
It's just finding that balance.
Yeah.
We would do a bunch of sours. We want that tartness to come through. If we're doing something like this, we want that natural fruit citrus flavor, but not too much of that sourness to come through. So we balance that out with the malts, the wheat, the mash temperature, and how much sugar content we're going to have in the remaining beer.
Nice.
So wheat ale. You have another iteration of the Daydream Tangerine with the Daydream Pineapple and Coconut. How funky could you get with kind of altering what you do with the Daydream?
I mean, the sky's the limit. I think a wheat beer is a really good style to experiment with and do a lot of different flavors with that. We had the pineapple coconut right now, which is really good. Again, great summertime beer. We've done it with blueberry vanilla before. I have some plans to do some more experimentation with it and do more iterations. We're seeing a lot of positive feedback from that, so we're gonna keep messing with it.
How would this convert to a sour? You think this would make a good sour?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything heavily fruited and stuff. A lot of the sours that we do, they're always gonna be heavily fruited and stuff. So if you get something with this much flavor, especially that tangerine, I think it would go perfectly with that. And I guess good segue into that. Speaking of, we are announcing we have our official Sour Fest coming back August 22nd. So we always do a big tap takeover of both our taps in Avalon and Castleberry with sour beers. We're going to have at least 3 to 4 different new sour beers of ours that we're releasing in package and draft as well. Super stoked about that. It's one of our favorite times, biggest festivals that we do each year.
If I can kind of segue to sours, what is the difference between brewing a sour and a regular beer? Don't you need to have a special facility due to contamination, or how does that work?
There's a couple different ways you can do them. So yeah, if we're gonna do mixed fermentation sours, and what I mean by that is there's different types of bacteria you can use. You would add that post fermentation. That's going to take a lot of time to mature and ferment and go through its process. It could take up to a year or 2 years and multiple years even. So something like that, when you're adding in the bacterias and all the organisms post fermentation, you'd absolutely need separate facility, separate equipment. Keep that away from what we call it the clean side, the other beer that we're using the Saccharomyces, our brewer's yeast and stuff like that. There's also a process of doing something called like a kettle sour, where we use lactobacillus, and we do that in the kettle, keep it concealed, and then we boil it so it kills off any of the other bacteria. We get that straight lactic tartness from it. Same thing that you find in any like probiotics and yogurts and stuff like that. And then you send it on down the line. That won't need to be separated.
Okay. There are some breweries that will put out a sour, but when I drink it, you don't get that mouth puckering tartness that you get from a sour. It's more juicy. How do those differ?
How do you get mouth puckering often in the show either? Yeah.
Check that one off the board.
How do you get mouth puckering compared to like
Wow.
more sweet and juicy?
It really depends on, you're looking at total acidity and the pH levels of the final beer of what you want to shoot for. And you can kind of contribute that with as much, the bacteria, the lactobacillus, or other organisms you're putting into that beer. For us, I do like to get a nice, crisp, tart flavor to it. So we target our pH a little bit lower, around the 3.1 and 3, sometimes a little bit lower area. If you just want like a little hint of that, then you could raise that pH a little bit, get your total acidity up a little bit. And it depends on the brewer and the preference of what they're looking for. I think me and you are on the same page. If I like some really super tart sours. If you're doing something with, sharp berries, strawberries, blueberries, and stuff like that, they're going to be very tart to begin with. So I think it kind of blends in perfectly.
Before we ask you to tell folks again about Sourfest and everything else going on, I want to run by you. I'm going to ask Bob if you would like this beer. We said we would do earlier in the week.
Okay.
Minnesota State Fair. State fairs are great to try some stuff, okay? Old Ranch Hand, a ranch dressing flavored cream ale blending smooth malt with hints of buttermilk, herbs, and spices, served with a ranch salt rim, 5% ABV.
All right, so
It's the rim that gets me.
the rim would be the biggest thing for me, just on a production standpoint of cleaning that in the tap room. Besides that, I look at everything as like a challenge. Like Chris, like actually the shirt he's wearing today was from a festival we put on called Central Florida Top Brewer, where it's like a Top Chef style competition. You draw stuff out of the hat, and that sounds like a beer you'd 100% get at something like that. So from a challenge standpoint, I would love to tackle something like that. My mind's already racing of how I would pull that off. From a drinking standpoint, I would try it. I probably wouldn't get a 6-pack and keep pounding it. But I am a ranch guy, so maybe pair it with some.
A for creativity. Don't know yet about the taste, but
yeah, I mean, and if
you
they pull it off,
challenge. If somebody said, "Here's the ingredients," what do you do? Go.
Yeah, I wouldn't back down. I would.
See, Chris,
would excite me. I would love it.
Again, Bob and I are on the same page. It's just the rim on that beer. Just God.
We were actually talking about that the other day. We were trying to do. We were messing around with some new flavors of peanuts in the kitchen. We were talking about doing rims of like tahini and stuff like that, and we transition that into beers. And somebody had mentioned doing like a peanut butter rim on a beer or something like that. I'm like, please, God, do not ever put that on the glass. The bartenders will fight you.
Yes.
Immediately, number one.
Before we go to info, I've been told that there is a new Bo Egan's theme song. If I'm able to play it.
Down here we go again. Down here we go again.
All right, so as it plays, tell me who did the song for it.
Yeah, so this is his name's Scart. He's from one of Central Florida's favorite bands called the Supervillains. He's coming and started doing some live music for us, and then
Awesome.
he hit me up the other day. He's like, "Here, I gotta show you this." I just got back from the studio and hooked it up, and
Very cool.
jammed it. I'm like, "Dude, that's awesome." So shout out to Scart,
Let it play.
Supervillains.
Tell us again about the festival coming up and what else people need to know.
Yeah, so April 22nd, we're doing Sour Fest. So if you like sour beers, this is your favorite time to come out here and try all these beers. We're going to do a tap takeover. We'll have some guest taps, both flowing at both locations in Avalon Park and Castleberry. We're going to have some live music, some new food drops. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff going on, so stay tuned for that. We have 2 locations in Central Florida, like we just mentioned, one in Avalon Park, the marketplace at Avalon, one in Castleberry on the corner of 436 and Redbug. You can check us out online at bowegans.com, BOWIGENS.com, and at social medias at Bowegans Beer Company.
Please check out and support the great stuff that Bobby's team is all about. Richard Hill, our sports law expert. We did tape the segment yesterday, so if you're on the stream, just run the camera of me sitting here, okay, so people don't freak out and go, where is it? So we did tape Richard yesterday. His segment is next.
Time now for this week's Sports Law segment with Richard Hale.
We combine sports and law for our weekly sports law segment. Richard Hale is our sports law expert. Hale and Jacobson, the firm. I'm at hhjlegal.com. We got a lot of things to get to. Richard, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, Mark. How are you?
Over the last year plus 2 years now, we've talked off and on about the NFL versus John Gruden. It's an under-the-radar story because I get it. We got camps opening up. But what is the latest on the NFL and John Gruden, and what is something called the slap? I'll let you take it here because it's a legal term.
Yeah, so we've got John Gruden just continuing to land body blows against the NFL in this lawsuit. As you indicate, it's been going on for a couple of years now. The first big win, if we keep in mind, was that he was able to keep the case out of arbitration, meaning it would proceed through the court system. And what that means in terms of the overall case is we're going to get discovery. We're going to find out maybe, some dirty laundry about the NFL. We're going to be able to get our hands dirty with some of the emails that were going back and forth, specifically with regards to the investigation that was going on in Washington that led to the discovery of these emails that led ultimately to them being published. So let's fast forward to what happened this past week. The NFL essentially throwing up its version of a Hail Mary here, filed a motion to dismiss, citing an anti-slap law that exists on the books in Nevada. For those who may not be familiar, an anti-slap law would protect a person who's engaged in good faith communication in furtherance of the right to petition or the right to free speech in direct connection with an issue of public concern. So I'm reading from Black's Law Dictionary there, but let me explain. The NFL is essentially saying that the leak of the confidential documents that was harvested during the investigation of the Washington franchise was an exercise in free speech in direct connection with an issue of public concern. So whatever issue they had of public concern with John Gruden remaining the coach of the Raiders at that time was so important that they should have been allowed to release these documents for public consumption. That's the basis of the argument. So if everybody's a little confused at this point, let me clear it up for you. On one hand, you have the NFL saying, hey, we never released these documents. But you also have the NFL saying, if we did release these documents, it was we were in a position of great public concern, and so the documents had to be released, and so our actions were protected in this case by Nevada's anti-slap statute. How you reconcile those is beyond me, but there is a very fine line there, I guess, that the NFL believes exists between saying on one hand, we never did this, and on the other hand, even if we did this, our conduct in this particular case was protected. It doesn't make walking around sense to me, which is why I think the judge denied the motion. That motion is now being appealed to the Nevada State Supreme Court. The Nevada State Supreme Court then will hear the issue and decide if they think the trial court erred in any way in its decision, and then they would send it back down for rulings that are consistent with whatever the Nevada Supreme Court decides. But fair to say this is another blow to the NFL, stricken by Gruden's legal team. I see it as a Hail Mary at this point, them trying to continue to get this lawsuit dismissed. You have to ask yourself, why are they so intent on having this dismissed? And I think it comes back to what we talked about earlier. Man, there's just some really bad information that's going to come about as we continue to find out through the discovery process in this case and see what dirty laundry exists and what the NFL's been hiding.
Let us move. We got another one of these eligibility cases in college sports, but it is interesting. Cole Hudson played 4 years at Texas, was a quality offensive lineman, started almost 30 games, assumed his eligibility was up, entered the NFL draft, did not get drafted, was an invited undrafted rookie to NFL camps, participated. In the meantime, hired a attorney to say, hey, you know what? I want a fifth year too. The 5-for-5 rule is going to go into effect, but he's part of that class in 2022. It's like, hey, how come I'm the a class that gets left out? They find a Texas judge to rule in his favor, which then gets to another hearing. But in the meantime, he gets the injunction that allows him to play at Texas. I mentioned on the radio show yesterday, it's interesting. I've heard Greg Sankey step forward and say, well, we're not going to allow that because we're going to follow the rules. What What do you make of the latest where we went fishing for a local judge? The next hearing, I'm assuming, is going to be in Texas. So what do you make of the case of Cole Hudson? And he says he needs his 5th year because he needs to advance his skill set to play in the NFL and money that he would not be making because if he was at Texas, he could make money.
Yeah, certainly all the grounds are there for him to seek an injunction. I think that the court did the right thing here in granting it, at least in the short term, and we'll see as this case gets appealed how it develops. But the argument here is fairly simple after the ruling by the Ohio court a couple months ago that would allow these students to play for a 5th year. You have Cole Hudson who's saying, look, I never took a redshirt year. I acknowledge that. So maybe that doesn't put me in the same category as some of the players or the players that were appealing the Ohio ruling. But I am still here. I'm still seeking a 5th year. Just because I didn't happen to redshirt, please don't punish me. Please treat me the same as you're going to treat everybody else who applied for and is going to be able to play that 5th year. A similar case you and I talked about last week with Stillwell in Georgia, waiting on a ruling there. But in the meantime, I think this is just another chink in that armor as we chip away at what the NCAA ruled and now how those rules are simply eroding. I don't know where the line exists anymore between amateurism and professionalism. This guy went and participated in 2 professional sports camps. So to come back and now say I want to regain my amateur status and get that other year kind of flies in the face of the whole notion that there even is a line between amateur and professional at this point.
But I guess the question, and I get it, common sense doesn't prevail anymore. When does the guy from the class of 21 go, well, wait a minute, I want the 5th year? And the guy from the class of 20 who hasn't played in 2 years. I mean, at some point, law started a certain time. Like, I just don't know how we keep doing this. I mean, can we just keep going back? Hey, I started in 20. I want that 5th year too. How far do we go before someone says common sense? The law, or in this case, rule has to start at a certain year.
Yeah, well, I think that the courts are likely going to continue to approach this on a case-by-case basis. But you pointed out at the outset what some of the problem is here, right? This case is being litigated in right outside of the friendly confines of UT Stadium.
Yeah.
So, naturally, you're going to have a really hard time, at this point, running into a judge who didn't go to Texas or doesn't know somebody that went to Texas or maybe a Texas fan. And you'd like to, continue to think, as I do, that, judges, for the most part, are impartial and do not have any bias. But we've seen evidence where that's just not the case. These judges, especially in the backyards of some of these high-powered programs, they're continuing to allow this to happen. So, yeah, they're going to look on a case-by-case basis. Maybe we get to the point where, somebody that's 2 years, 3 years removed from college, doesn't get that opportunity to go back and play. But for the time being, I say that we're on a very slippery slope.
I love this last story. I'm going to ask you about the Cubs and Wrigley Field rooftops, which, for tradition, you watch people that are on those rooftops and they watch the game. And even if you're local, and you and I have both been to Bay Hill many times over the years, and one of the great things about Bay Hill, it's played in the middle of a housing community, and we see those house parties and people lined up outside the pool and deck, and you watch a Bay Hill play. But this is an interesting argument, the Cubs versus these rooftop businesses, and the question of, you got to pay additional to watch a game outside the official venue. And then the argument is, well, hey, does that mean if I go to an F1 race in Vegas or if I go to a marathon that someone's got to pay because I'm able to watch the athletic event outside what is defined as the stadium or arena? What do you make of the latest battle in Chicago with the Cubs and the rooftop businesses around them?
Well, I think you make an excellent legal argument in terms of this also being a slippery slope, and us, at some point saying, hey, if I own a house on the 10th tee at Bay Hill, can I not watch the tournament from my backyard? I have a line of sight. Now, are you going to put up some structure that doesn't allow me to see the tournament simply because that's where I exist? I don't think we get there.
Or I got to pay a royalty, right?
You have to pay royalty to
right.
the PGA Tour, yes. And I think that's where if you pay attention, there's a history here between the Cubs and these organizations. And there was a come to Jesus, if you will, some years back between the Cubs and these organizations that allowed for some revenue sharing. That agreement expired. And then so in looking towards what's the next evolution of that agreement, we find ourselves in the midst of this lawsuit because the Cubs continue to argue that one of the things that makes us special in terms of having this downtown experience here at Wrigley also is, financially exposes us somewhat because we're not getting a piece of any of that revenue gain from those people who sit in the outfield and still watch the game. Now, whose fault is that? I don't know. It might be the Cubs' fault for choosing that venue or for failing to anticipate that, what was going to evolve around them from a construction standpoint. But I'll say this, at the same time, capitalism still reigns supreme, and you've got people who have made a nice enterprise off of taking advantage of the sightlines that do exist from these various places. And so where does the law come down on this? Hard to say. I can see certainly both sides of the argument. Does this encourage both sides to sit down and reach some type of settlement arrangement that both parties can, maybe they're not happy with, but can they live with? I think that's where this ends up. But interesting argument. And like you said, I don't know that it gets to the point where I can't sit on my balcony in St. Pete and watch the F1 race without, cutting a check to F1 racing. But this will be an interesting case to follow for sure moving forward.
Good stuff, Richard. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Appreciate it.
Take care, Mark.
All right, Richard Hill Sports. That'll be the Indy race in St. Pete. F1 goes to Austin and Miami and Las Vegas. But there is an Indy race that's in St. Pete. But it is an interesting story. You watch a Cubs game, see the people sitting atop the rooftops across the street. For years they battled. They came up with a figure. If you're going to charge tickets for people to go up and watch there, we got to get a piece of that. Richard, as he points out, that agreement has ended. So they're trying to get a new deal done. The argument among the rooftop people is, what's the price? How much do we pay? And then they're arguing, hey, so does every other place have to pay you guys? Because, again, if you live, and if anybody's been to Bay Hill, you can pick the holes, and their houses have been doing pool parties for 30, 40 years at Bay Hill. Do they have to pay a royalty to the PGA Tour because you can go by so-and-so's house and watch the tournament from their pool? And think of other places that you can go and watch a sporting event without having to buy a ticket.
Very interesting. If I'm the people that own the high-rise apartments across from Wrigley, if I don't need to, and I can get away with charging people whatever I want to charge, as much as I hate that, I get everything's a business, everything's about money. If I can get away with charging what I want to charge, why would I not do it? If I can get away with it and I don't have to pay you, being the Cubs, anything.
Well, we're not getting away with it because you agreed to a deal. That deal's up.
That deal's up, so I now don't need to do anything.
Hence the fight that's taking place. What's interesting, and we'll move on, Mike. We'll move on with this. But when UCF played at the NCAA Regional at Auburn this year, stadium's packed, sold out, okay? There's a parking garage down the left field line, third base left field line, and maybe 4, 5, 6 levels. And level like 4, 5, 6, there were people in the parking garage watching the game outside the official stadium entrance. But in order to park there, you paid a premium because it wasn't just regular parking. So, like, you were paying and Auburn was charging you, and it's on their campus. I don't know what the amount was. You paid a premium to park there. Let's say during the season you paid $10 to park there. I think they charged like $70, $80 because you were going to have access to watch the game from that area there, which was, I go, man, those people get to hang out. They go, oh, no, they're paying for it with a premium parking spot. So it's an interesting battle indeed. All right, more of the Beat of Sports coming up next. When it comes to diamonds, International Diamond Center is your first and only stop. And here's why. Because no one offers a better selection when it comes to quality, options, and pricing. And you'll find it all at IDC. They can walk you through the new landscape of lab-grown diamonds. What are the positives? What are the downsides? And let you decide between a natural diamond and a lab-grown diamond. IDC is not there to push you in one direction. Nope, they don't do that. They give you everything you need to make the decision you're going to be comfortable with. So whether you're looking for a colored rare gemstone, IDC's got the best selection ever of rare, precious colored gemstones. And it doesn't matter what you're looking for. IDC has everything and then some. It's what I love about them because they'll help you find something in your price range as well. So whether it's that anniversary ring, the upcoming engagement, or just a special gift, bottom line is IDC's got more choices than anyone else. So no pressure. You pick what you want and what you're comfortable with. So don't get confused or overwhelmed. Let the experts at IDC educate you and guide you. International Diamond Center. Shop online at shopadc.com. Visit them in Altamont Springs, Waterford Lakes, at Mont Millennium. It's International Diamond Center. Playing the what if game in sports can be fun. It can also be frustrating. In this town, there's no greater what if moment than 30 years ago when Shaquille O'Neal left the Orlando Magic. Had he stayed, it may have been one of the great runs of a team with two young stars. And to this day, the Magic still search for that first championship. And if you're like me and you've been in this town for quite some time, me since '89, I remembered 30 years ago and what went down. Our next guest was in the middle of all of it. Joel Corey is former sports agent, and Joel's been doing work at CBS for years. And I followed Joel, and he's been a guest on the show before. And I see great football information from Joel, but he posted a story that he did 10 years ago about Shaq's departure and speaks as someone that would know because he was involved working with then agent Leonard Armato as a young associate in that office, and Joel's kind to join us. Joel, welcome back. Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
First, tell me about a young Joel Corey working with Leonard Armato in 1996.
Well, Leonard gave me my start in sports representation. By then, I'd actually left and formed an agency with all the football players. It was the most amicable split for any agency because I shared office space with Leonard and served as a consultant for him on certain Shaquille matters, including Shaq's free agency in 1996.
As I read your piece, back then in 2016, you said you still have the Shaq folders. Do you still have them 10 years later?
Yeah, they're in a box. I haven't looked at them since I wrote the article, but I know where they are.
Okay, take me back now. It's 1996. This is supposed to be a no-brainer. It's a different CBA. It's a different financial world of the NBA. And you're in some of these meetings. So initially, is the anticipation by Leonard, hey, the Magic will do the right thing, and they're going to offer a big number. We can get this done. Because you know there are many people that believe that Leonard had an agenda to get Shaq to L.A. So take me to what you remember of the initial meeting with the Magic.
Well, prior to that, all our meetings about Shaq were geared towards staying in Orlando. Leonard directed me to come up with alternative teams in case something went wrong. So I started looking at who could create the cap room for an acceptable offer. But everything was geared towards him staying there. We were negotiating a restaurant deal for Shaq to have a joint venture at Universal Studios called Shaq's Place. We wouldn't have been doing that if we thought he was going to be leaving.
So as you write, the first initial offer for the Magic, was there an anticipation of a dollar figure? And again, we're talking about different NBA time. The salary cap was just over $24 million, but the CBA allowed you to go above that to keep your players. So what did you guys anticipate, and then what ended up happening?
Well, first, back then, there wasn't a second apron, there wasn't a first apron, there wasn't a luxury tax, and there weren't salary maximums. So the Orlando Magic could have paid Shaq anything they wanted to using Larry Bird rights. The maximum contract length back then was 7 years, so we were at least expecting a 7-year deal with an early out. His rookie contract was 7 years in length and had an out after 4 years. We were expecting the Magic to treat us the way that the Miami Heat did Alonzo Mourning. They came out the box and gave him a $105 million contract for 7 years with an out after 3. What the Magic did was basically look at whatever cap room other teams had and came in with basically $54 million over 4 years. You wanted the extra 3 years in guaranteed, or 4 years because you wanted to have 3, even if you were going to opt out. In case there was some sort of injury, you'd have the guaranteed money. I equated what the Magic were doing was what you would do in a football negotiation instead of where you aren't putting more your best foot forward. And when you have a once-in-a-generation talent like Shaquille was back then, we were all surprised at the tenor that was taken in that first conference call.
So it's perceived as a low ball offer, but then as you wrote in your piece, what maybe was surprising was it wasn't just an offer to begin negotiations. that the Magic pointed out some things that they almost were criticizing his game.
Yeah, well, one, Shaq's never a good free throw shooter, so that would be fair criticism. But when you start criticizing his rebounding and defense, then it's kind of like, wait a minute. I'm like, this sounds like a football negotiation, because at that time we had a bunch of football players, including two for the Jaguars, Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell. But that was not something we expected, and also bringing up the fact that we have to be cognizant of a looming negotiation down the road for Penny Hardaway. I'm like, you need to deal with us and worry about Penny when the time comes. We don't want to hear anything about what you have to do for Penny when you haven't paid us yet.
Take me to the point and what led to Leonard and the team with you involved in this. Okay, what are the alternatives? You said that was part of your job. Was there a real market? Because there were some now salary cap numbers, because this would be a player change in the team. Can you share who were possible candidates, and did you ever get close with somebody before the Laker part came in?
Yeah, I identified teams that if we had our druthers, if we had to go elsewhere, what we would look at. One was Miami, but then they re-upped with the morning, so that was out of the way. The Knicks, if they decided to renounce rights to Patrick Ewing, which they did, and they actually pursued Michael Jordan unsuccessfully. The Detroit Pistons were on that list because of Grant Hill. And then when Allen Houston left to go to the Knicks, that didn't have a lot of appeal. The only team besides the Lakers that reached out to us was the Atlanta Hawks, which is a little surprising. They weren't on the list, but they told us that they could probably get to maybe 12 to 14 million or something like that as a starting salary. And back then you could do 20% raises from the first year salary as opposed to 7.5. Now, if you are going to stay for your own team, or 5 if you're going to leave and go to a new team, and out of a group of like Mookie Blaylock, Christian Laettner, and Steve Smith, 2 of those were going to be untouchable. The guy we liked the best was Steve Smith, but from running the numbers, it wasn't going to work cap-wise for him to stay. And ultimately, they went in another direction and signed Dikembe Mutombo.
Joe, before I get to the Laker part of this and the Kobe angle, was there a sense that was this Rich DeVos, the owner, that was controlling this? Was this a combination of Magic management? Because it seems like there was a level of frustration, like, guys, what are we doing here? This should be somewhat simple. Did you get a sense that it was Rich DeVos calling all the shots?
Funny thing is, there's a great relationship with Rich DeVos because Shaq had a deal with Amway separately. So Leonard had a great relationship with Rich DeVos and was dealing with him and the DeVos family on a whole different level. I don't know if it was him or the front office people, but the Magic had never dealt with a star of that magnitude, so that may have contributed to part of the problem.
Tell me how Jerry West begins to maneuver and figure out maybe there's a path here, because a lot of things had to happen. As you write, we know Kobe Bryant goes on to be one of the greatest players ever. People know how he got there, but the Vlade Divac trade was significant. Why, and what else did West do that suddenly made it possible?
Yeah, Jerry kind of went for kind of a swing for the fences. I'm trying to hit a grand slam or maybe a Hail Mary, but it ended up being a genius move from this standpoint that he traded Vlade Divac, who was their starting center, one, because it was going to open up cap space, and two, he was able to get Kobe Bryant. Don't forget, back then, the high school players didn't enter the NBA. They can't now because of the one-and-done rules, but Kevin Garnett was the first one to do it the year before, and it had been 20 years prior to him. So Kobe coming in out of high school was highly unusual, and high school players weren't regarded as people that were going to come in and be great NBA players. Garnett, as a rookie, didn't make a huge impact, but he ended up getting arguably one of the 10 best players in NBA history from that trade, as well as starting to set the stage to put yourself in a position to make a run at Shaq. They also renounced the rights to several players that were free agents to open up cap room, and that first offer came in at about $95.5 million over 7 years and not after 3. And Leonard thought that, and I agreed, that Shaq was way better than Alonzo Mourning, so anything which wasn't going to be significantly more than Alonzo Mourning wasn't going to work.
Did it get too far down the road with the Lakers, and I go back to the piece you wrote 10 years ago, that the Magic tried to counter? What was that counter, and was it too late, or was there still a chance?
Yeah, once they knew that the Lakers were interested, they still didn't put their best foot forward because we really wanted 140 million over 7 years, $20 million a year, and we wanted the out after 3. They were still stuck initially on a 4-year deal at $64 million, or a 7-year deal at $109 million. It's an opt out after 4, and we're like, you have some competition. Maybe you're not thinking that the Lakers can get to a point where he could actually leave, but you needed to be proactive as opposed to reactive.
You write about the famous Orlando Sentinel poll. We joke because for years people have blamed the current columnist Mike Bianchi for the column. Mike wasn't even working for the Sentinel, but Larry Guest was an influential columnist. And I remember all this. It wasn't just the poll. There's a famous Larry Guest column where he quotes Rich DeVos, and Larry and Rich had a pretty good exchange back and forth. And the quote is about Shaq, I want your heart, not just your body. And I know that rubbed some people the wrong way, but was the poll that big of a deal in the Orlando Sentinel?
You forget that players are human and have feelings. And when people say you're not worth the money you're asking for, it's going to have an impact to a degree. But it was a contributing factor, not the overriding factor. It's more the fact that the Magic had ample opportunity to just nip this thing in the bud and let it linger, and left the door open for the Lakers to bust right through.
Your belief today, 30 years later, is if the Magic, the first day they were able to negotiate, said, just tell me the number, here's the number, and we'll get it done, that it would have gotten done?
Yeah, or if they'd said, we can't quite do 140, but we could do like maybe 130, 125 with some incentives, and like front load the contract, you can have the out after 3. We're not having this. The whole thing never happens, and he plays with Orlando for at least the next few years. At least 3. At least 3 more.
You wrote, and your thought, I've said this, me, as someone that has been here since 1989, the first year of the Magic. If he never leaves, I believe the Magic have dynasty potential, and then the domino effect of the others that benefited by him leaving, including Kobe Bryant, who I would agree is one of the 3 best players I've ever seen, but he doesn't have the same resume. You agree that if they get that deal done, the Magic have dynasty potential?
Yeah, because they may have stopped the three-peat with the Bulls, and as long as Penny stays healthy, we never know what could happen. Then maybe they're fighting the Spurs to be the team of the next century, the 21st, start of the 21st century. I doubt Phil goes to the Lakers because part of the appeal was running the triangle offense with a center, which they never did in Chicago. They didn't have a center of that magnitude. One thing that benefited the Lakers was there's a quirk in the collective bargaining agreement. Shaq should have been a restricted free agent, but for the 1995 CBA, because under every CBA since then, if you opt out with that amount of time, you're going to be 4 years. You're a restricted free agent. So Shaq becoming unrestricted after 4 years was unusual because of the quirk in the CBA. And if he's a restricted free agent, then he'd have to sign a qualifying offer and then hit unrestricted free agency the next year to leave. And any team which put an offer out, the Magic surely would have matched it.
2 final ones and I'll let you go, Joel. I've interviewed Leonard before. You know that there's a different side that some of the Magic will say. what do you say to those that say, look, that's all good. A lot of it may be true, but in the end, we believe, as some would say, Leonard had an agenda. His goal was to get Shaq to L.A. for more than just basketball. What's your response to that group?
Well, he was already rapping and doing movies before that. So it was, yeah, that stuff was easier in LA. But if Leonard really wanted to get Shaq to LA when he was drafted, he'd have pulled a Danny Ferry or Eli Manning and forced the move to LA as opposed to him signing with the Magic.
You've been an agent, represented people, and have followed that industry for a while. Can you think of any other situation where a team let a player of that magnitude go that never should have happened?
Not like this. I'll say Cleveland the first time with LeBron, but that was really a product of salary maximums. If you didn't have salary maximums, Dan Gilbert could have thrown so much money at LeBron that he never would have left. If he had salary maximums in today's current system, and Shaq's a free agent today, he signs either the Victor Wembanyama reduced contract for $252 million over 5 years, or gets the max contract for $303 million over 5 years, and he's still with the Magic.
Joel Corey's on X or Twitter. Follow him as football season gets going, and he's a great follow because of all the complexities of salary caps and contracts. He's on X or Twitter at Corey Joel. That's Corry Joel. Joel, good catching up. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Joel Corey with, again, a version that his eyes would tell you with Shaq and what happened with the Magic.
It's so crazy to think about all these years later.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I've heard from people on the Magic side that had their spin about what Leonard Armato was doing and how he represented Shaq, and some within the Magic felt he was not representing his best interest, that he had an agenda. I think I've interviewed Leonard Armato 3 times years after. It's been a while. And he gives his version. I just believe, and I don't care if it's the Magic, I don't care what team you're talking about, you should never lose a once-in-a-generation player, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. That you know the it guy when you get it, and you should never lose that player. And I still believe that the Magic should have. Now, the argument of 3 years, 4 years in and out, it's a different world now than it was then, and I get, but what's the number? What do you want? We want 4 years. We want 3. You know what? We're going to make it so much that you're not even going to care when we get to that 3rd year. I can't guarantee that he never would have left, but I still believe they were building a team that was going to be a championship contender for years. The whole Hollywood thing, it's easy to go, Leonard had an agenda to get him out of here, and you know, Shaq has had his comments since then and everything, but and maybe I'm just living for those days, because when he was in this town, it was fun. It was must-watch television every single time they played, or must listen on radio, or must go to a game. And he was young, and Penny was young, and this young team was doing stuff they weren't supposed to do, and you cannot help but think what they would have done regarding multiple years in championships.
So Joel brought it up. If Leonard did have an agenda to get Shaq to L.A., why not pull what Eli Manning did?
Well, not coming out of the draft. I mean,
why not?
Well, that would have been really hard to do, but I would say, to counter you, is that Shaq's brand out of LSU was nowhere near what it was after his first few years in Orlando. Then it took off because he had worldwide appeal. When he came out of LSU, you're like, this thing I've not seen before, but not like it was. So the agenda would have been, hey, let's get him through this first contract in Orlando, then we get him in L.A., and many people believe that Leonard worked with Jerry West on how to make things happen to get him there. There's many angles to this story, but I still believe the whole thing about, you know, I want your heart, not your body, it was crap. And to this day, and Bianca and I've discussed this, we go a little bit long here, as influential as some people think Mike is today with his column, and I love Mike, and I think he does great work, Larry Guest in the ear of Rich DeVos, I've said this for 30 years, was a factor. That Larry didn't have the buddy-buddy relationship. He was jealous of Greg Wormuth's relationship with Shaq. Shaq didn't do the I'll call Larry back anytime. So Larry became the mouthpiece in the paper for Rich DeVos. And when he wrote that column, I want your heart, not your butt, that was Larry providing the platform to go back at Shaq to say, hey, and I knew they're in trouble. They're in big, big trouble. Out of the box, it should have been, what, morning and John out? That's nothing. 7-105, here's 7 for 125. And if he turned it down, you could say he turned down 7 for 125. You had all the momentum on your side of going, he turned this down. The initial offer became a media story back in 96 before the social media world we're in now. But if you came out and said 7-125 and he turned it down, at least you can say, what more could I do? We offered him the biggest contract anybody could have had.
So going back to your first point, you said that Leonard Armada, Shaq's brand wasn't what it was until after his first few years in Orlando. If he did, again, have the agenda to get Shaq to LA, why give Orlando a chance to sign Shaq?
Because it'll look good. I mean, that's the angle that some will have, is that, hey, no one had a chance. Leonard had that. And I'm not calling Joel a liar. He was there. But, okay, hey, you guys want to counter? Even if Leonard had an agenda, again, if you're the Magic, here's 7-125. Hey, he wanted to go. You can't blame us. Did the poll have a factor? I don't think so. I mean, I think the decision was made in advance. And the Lakers, by the time the whole thing with the poll came out, the Lakers had already done, I think, 3 of the moves that people were like, okay, something's going on. So there you go. WI Jim Orlando, WJR HD2 Cocoa Beach. The 11 o'clock hour with the news coming up.
Let's really do the news.
Yes.
Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the
A
news.
little bit late with our interview with Joel Corey, looking back on Shaq's departure 30 years ago. So pardon a little bit behind. Let's get to some of the stuff happening. Tyreek Hill yesterday put out a video on YouTube with his latest update. Chris, we played a clip on the bridge earlier. He said he's got a long way to go. There's
Yeah.
no push up, no speed at all.
Not what you want to hear.
No, not at all. Jurgen Klopp is going to take over Germany's national team. They've been reported a couple of days ago. They made it official today as Germany tries to get themselves back among the elite on the international golf world. Duke and Michigan, we're going to play that college basketball game going outside of the TV deal that Duke had and Michigan had. They were going to play it at Madison Square Garden. Then we're going to go down to Lone Depot Park where the Marlins play. That game now scratched. It won't happen. And Duke will instead play Texas Tech at a game at Madison Square Garden. Gee, I wonder who may be playing in that game. What was that for, huh? Come on. What's that for, Chris? What are we doing over there, huh? Let's see what else we got. Quickly, some things here. A's sold a small stake of their team to Mark Cuban's private equity firm. If you're seeing something that Mark Cuban bought, he did not. His equity firm bought a very small percentage of the A's as the team gets set to move to Las Vegas. Patrick Kane's going back to the Blackhawks, 2-year, $16 million deal after being traded away in 23. He's 37 years old. WNBA has its All-Star Weekend coming up, starting tonight with a three-point contest. Tour de France ends on Sunday in Paris. U.S. Outdoor Track and Field Championships this weekend. And you know what's this weekend? Baseball's Hall of Fame induction, which used to be such a big, big deal. In case you forgot, Carlos Beltran, Jeff Kent, and Andrew Jones, formally inducted.
Andrew, baby.
Yeah. And Brickyard 400 this weekend at Indy is the schedule. We come back, the week in review with Studs and Duds next.
Missed anything during the week?
What?
We've got you covered.
Yeah! Here we go!
Let's take a look back at the week that was. It's the Beat of Sports Week in Review with Marc Daniels.
Time to look back on the week that was. We do this on Fridays, and we start first back on Monday, talking about Bryson DeChambeau and what happened at the Open Championship and the two-stroke penalty and just the penalty and the personality that is Bryson DeChambeau. We keep asking the next generations, plural, to have the same passion as the greats that are the pioneers of the game. And I also think that's a bit unfair because the money today in every sport and in this sport, these guys are playing in purses on the PGA Tour for $20 million. And even on Live, as long as they're going to hang around, you could be the 40th best player on the PGA money list, and you're making incredible money. Maybe DeChambeau is doing it as an act, drawing attention. Maybe it's just a different flake. And maybe his priorities aren't, I want to win as many majors as I can and where do I stack up in history. I think he overreacted, DeChambeau. But I don't argue his point of, well, when did you want to penalize me? The whole thing about he was in the driving range at like 11 o'clock at night hitting golf. I mean, that is an act. That part is an act. But I think he's a different dude. Different dude. I have no idea where he's playing this week because I don't know Live schedule. Don't have a clue. I know where Scotty Scheffler is. He's playing this weekend. So, Drew Lerner of Awful Announcing joined us on Tuesday with I think under the radar story. The NBA and local TV rights, and the Magic still have yet to announce their deal for the upcoming year, but the goal of Adam Silver to get everything on a streaming portal for you next year to go in and watch your team that way, and teams are going to make significantly less money. And he explains what the league would like to do starting next year.
By 2027, 2028, Adam Silver wants to roll out what the league is calling an aggregated or a centralized local rights hub where as many teams as they can get on board, they would like to aggregate those local rights and sell them to a streamer like Amazon or Netflix or Apple or whoever, ESPN, whoever would want to buy this service. Because at the moment, as you laid out perfectly, Mark, 13 NBA teams this offseason were looking for new home for their local rights. Main Street Sports Group shut down, which ran the FanDuel Sports networks. Most of those teams for this one interim year will be going to local over-the-air channels, right? But at a much reduced cost. These teams are often cutting their media rights fees by about 70% compared to what they're getting from the traditional regional sports networks. So the goal for the NBA, by aggregating these rights together and selling them to a big streamer, is to maybe recoup some of that lost revenue that was once possible under the old cable bundle, and now hopefully it can be recouped by streaming.
We'll see. Teams are taking a big cut in local media rights this upcoming year. Basketball talk on Wednesday with Keith Smith. We're late in the summer, but I asked Keith about any chance the Magic can find a shooter out there to add. They're
still on the look out for shooting. There's not really much left in free agency. It's become kind of a, as we always are at this point in the season, it's guys who are either waiting for a situation to resolve, like James Harden and Draymond Green. They're waiting to see what happens with LeBron James. You've got the restricted guys, but the Magic aren't going to even play for any of those guys. And then you've got a guy like Jonathan Kuminga, again, for a second straight year, just kind of lingering. But they're going to do what they can to see. But I think if there's any more shooting help or anything like comes, it'd be through a trade. But right now, teams aren't really looking to make trades at this moment necessarily to start moving pieces around, because you're looking at what you may see is when we get into late September, beginning part of October, as training camps develop, you may see a team say, all right, we kind of thought maybe this guy would be ready to take a step, and now we need a backup center. And that's where maybe the Magic deal from a position of strength to fill a hole elsewhere on the roster.
Yesterday, Cam Melder, Pro Football Network, was on with us, our weekly football feature. Chris and I kicked this around before, and I asked Cam, based on current NFL quarterbacks and the crop of rookies on the way, who might become the first $1 million a year quarterback in the NFL?
$100 million.
I'm sorry, 100. What did I say, million? Like Dr. Evil here. 100.
I want to say almost. If you use NFL current quarterbacks, Drake May could be that guy. I mean, last year being a single vote away from the MVP, taking them to the Super Bowl. What will this year look like for him? That'll give us our clear-cut answer. But then I think the nail's on the head. You hit it. It's Arch Manning. If there's somebody that's going to command the name value, the brand recognition, if he can continue that upward trend that we've seen from him, he'd be the first overall pick. He'd be a Manning. He'd get that second contract, and I think he would maybe also command that based on where we are in the NFL or in the real estate that is the NFL and the contracts by that time.
It is the week in review.
Stud of the week.
Actually, you know what? The more I think about it, I don't think it'll be Arch Manning.
Diego Pavia?
I think it'll be a quarterback coming from, if he's good enough, obviously, a quarterback coming from the 2028 class. I don't think Arch Manning, by the time he hits his
But you
second
still
contract.
mean it's his second contract. Because
Yes.
even then, you still won't have a rookie.
I don't see
Okay.
how big of a significant jump we're going to get from where we're at now to,
Okay.
to getting to $100 million. My start of the week, the Buffalo Bills, man. Their new stadium, a 20-foot high, 10-foot long, foldable table that's bent in half. That is Buffalo. How can you not love that? They're buying into what the Bills Mafia has created outside the stadium and brought it into the stadium. That is absolutely fantastic. 20-foot high, 10-foot wide, bent in half. I love it. Good for the Bills embracing Bills Mafia. Love it.
My start of the week is Josh Kerr. Josh Kerr set the world record for the mile. The crazy story about this is it wasn't a guy that woke up competing in a race against other great milers. This actually was a process that began almost a year ago. Chris, this is a great story. Josh Kerr was known already. It's not like it came out of nowhere. A two-time Olympic 1,500 medalist and had the sixth fastest mile ever recorded. He put together a PowerPoint presentation. It's a true story. Put together a PowerPoint presentation with Brooks Running and said, I've got a vision. I want to do this. And on this day, this event in July against an elite field, I want to compete and I want to set the mile record. They began the process of building him the perfect shoe through testing and all sorts of stuff. His team also continued to work with the group putting on the event. They wanted the best of the best to be there. They had an apparel deal, a marketing deal. They had a plan that if he did set the mile, what they wanted to do. This was geared towards this particular race, and hundreds, if not $1 million+ were spent planning for this particular day for him to do it. And when Josh Kerr took the field and ran, he came down the stretch and did this.
3:43.19, don't forget. Here he goes. I think he's going to do it. Keep going, Josh. Keep going, Josh. It's a world record. Jackson.
3:42.68. He averaged 16.2 miles an hour. He wins, he celebrates, and it was a 9-month plan that worked to pick the shoe, to pick the place to do it, to have elite runners there, the marketing campaign after he got done, the plans for the next year, and he did it. That's awesome.
Give me goosebumps.
That's the stud of the week.
Give me goosebumps.
Yeah,
man.
great.
Stud of the week.
I don't know if you saw this, Mark. Dude made tens of millions of dollars in his NBA career, shoplifting a $34 bottle of Tito's vodka. Ty Lawson.
I didn't see this. I'm sorry. No.
Ty Lawson shoplifted a $34 bottle of Tito's vodka and then repeatedly called an officer, a word I'm not able to say on air, and then had to throw race into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then takes to Twitter to then say, this is the wildest and more racist I've been through.
Did he steal the bottle?
He was arrested for it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he claiming he didn't steal it?
Yes. Even though when he was arrested, he was intoxicated. He had alcohol on his breath.
Okay. That still doesn't mean he stole the bottle. Is there video evidence?
There has not been
I'm not
any
picking
release.
your side. I'm just saying I don't know.
There
what
hasn't
facts
been
are.
any release, no.
Yeah. What's the moral here?
If an officer pulls you aside, don't be a tool.
No, steal Grey Goose or Belvedere or something. I mean, if you're going to take a...
Come on, man.
Go for
You're
a higher bottle here.
multi-millionaire. 30.
Mm,
Really? Come on,
Yeah.
man.
okay. Here's my note of the week.
So I'll take that as like real or not real. So they're real. People have talked about that. They've opined about the frustrations that bring them to the point of saying we should look at something significantly different.
That's SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. He and his conference to me get the dud of the week. It's not that any conference that hosts the media for a few days shouldn't brag about how good their league is, why they have the best teams and the best rivalries, and tell you all the fancy numbers. That's what these events are designed for. The Big Ten's going to do it in a few days when they get together. In the end, the SEC Media Days this year came away with a story of breakaway that started Sunday before the meetings began on Monday. Greg Sankey knew the question was coming and he addressed it. But here's the deal. I still don't understand what their point is. I still don't understand why they think they want to hold on to this thing. I still don't get why they want to misinform the media as to why it's important for them. If the SEC wanted to break away, then many say go ahead and do it. It doesn't make sense. Their level of frustration with Congress and the latest Protect a Sports Act is not going to hit the floor, and the summer recess is going to come, and we're not going to get any further progress of Congress. The simple fact is this. You can't complain that your problem is that the SEC can't accept the NCAA can't enforce its rules when you don't want the rules to be enforced when it applies. Nothing stops the SEC from telling its members, no, we're going to abide by a rule that was put in place. When people laughed at Texas Tech because of what they were doing in defending Brendan Sorsby, no matter what you think about what they did there, the simple fact is the SEC stood by and let Trinidad Chambliss go to court, win a case to get eligibility, and commit to play at one of their schools. If they wanted the NCAA to enforce their own rules, they should have told Ole Miss he can't play for you. When a Texas football player went through the draft, didn't get drafted, went to a minicamp, 2 of them, and then decides to find an Austin-based judge to give him eligibility to go back to Texas, the SEC could have said, no, we're going to follow the rules that we abided by, and he can't play for you. And if your frustration is over you want rules to be different because you're the SEC, then try and break away and see how you would enforce your own rules. But remember, as I've said before, ask Todd Golden at Florida how he's going to feel. Ask the fans at Kentucky in basketball, Rick Barnes at Tennessee, and anybody else how they're going to enjoy not playing in the NCAA basketball tournament. Ask the SEC schools that fill half the field of the College World Series almost every single year what it's going to be like when the year ends in Hoover, Alabama, because they're not playing in everything else. Stop it. Stop it. The storyline coming out of 4 days in Tampa wasn't about football season this year. It was about stupid stuff like breakaways, and we're not quite sure we fit with everybody else. Either abide by the rules or just acknowledge you don't want them, because it was an awful week, I think, PR-wise for the league. Telling people you're the best and bragging about your attempt, that's been going on for 30 years, and to some degree, there's some facts behind that. But the whole breakaway stuff and anybody that fell for it, get out of here, man. They're the dud of the week.
Mark, can I give you some breaking news?
Yeah.
LeBron James, 2 years, $8 million. To Philadelphia 76ers.
Just saw that. 2-year, $8 million deals at 80 a year or total? I think it's total.
That's total with the player option. I don't know. He just sent out 3 tweets. I don't know if you want me to read them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick.
Go. Sure.
This is LeBron James 3 minutes ago.
Wait, did he? Oh,
This is his tweet.
I thought he said he tweeted, this is LeBron James. Okay, go ahead.
I thought I was done when the season ended. I wasn't ready to announce it, and I knew I needed some time to really decide, but I was pretty sure I played my last game. I was honest at that last press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decide if I still love this game. I still truly love this game, and I have more to give. The last few weeks have really been special. I've never been able to have no clue what to do and take real time to just think. I've had an incredible few months with all the people I love trying to figure it all out. This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. What am I really playing for at this point? I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind.
Okay, I'm bored. So.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So,
I just saw the Shams tweet here. Yeah.
So he just said he didn't do it for family, yet earlier this week we played that he said he was doing it for family.
Listen, basketball-wise, the Sixers become one of the more intriguing teams now because now it is not just Jaylen Brown versus Jason Tatum. It's now Jaylen Brown, LeBron James,
Tyrese Maxey,
BJ Edgecombe, and 35, 36 games ago with Embiid. And it's in the East, man.
Yep.
It's in now the crowded East. Why do I feel good it didn't go to Miami? Like Chris, first part of me, I'm a Knicks fan. I don't care any of this stuff. I'm still gloating in that. And then the magic part of me is like, I'm just glad he didn't go to Miami to hear that crap.
If you're Pat Riley, seeing what he signed for.
Oh, there was more money. Miami had more money than anybody. More money than anybody available for him.
I'm surprised he picked Philly. I thought he would have ended his career back home.
Maybe in the end he's laughing at Pat Riley. He goes, I did it again. Yeah. The Heat have to be gutted.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, gutted both as a team and then just emotionally. Interesting. Makes the East, I think, wild. I'm telling you, the pendulum to me is switched. Anybody tells you, the West, the East is far more entertaining than the West.
The Sixers are now the clear-cut favorites, no? For the East?
What?
The Knicks weren't even the favorites before LeBron.
No, I told you, we're not even caring about this season. I don't care. You tell me now the Knicks lose in the second round. I don't care. I don't care. Champions this year. It's interesting. Fascinating. Wow. So there you go. LeBron James, 2-year deal, Philadelphia 76ers. More of the Beat of Sports next.
More sports, more banter, more Marc Daniels. This is the Beat of Sports.
Again, breaking news, LeBron James is signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. That's the social media person for the Heat cost him the deal, huh?
I mean, they are looking for a new
that
person.
job was posted July 1. But, yeah. LeBron and the Sixers. Like Carmelo chasing a ring with the Lakers. Gary Payton playing there as well. Ring chaser. Let's talk to our friend Kurt from Maxine's on Shine. Good day, my friend. How are you?
I am doing well, my brother. Thank you kindly. Yes.
Can I share where you were? Do you mind if I ask you a question or two? Am I allowed to do that?
No, go right ahead.
So you were in New York.
Absolutely.
You were in New York.
I was.
And you were scheduled to
Yes.
see John Bon Jovi, who had been doing a run at Madison Square Garden. Did that happen?
It did indeed. Yes.
And how
Yeah,
was
man,
it? Because I saw he cut his show last night short a little bit, but 4.5 years after throat surgery. So how was the show and how was it?
I thought it was fantastic. We caught him last Sunday night, and about 2 hours solid. Man, it was just electric in MSG.
Mm-hmm.
People were standing, they were going crazy. It was really, really good stuff. His voice, the thing for him, and after that surgery, I really respected the fact that he let the crowd belt out like all the catch lines.
Gotta do it once in a while.
Everybody knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gave himself a little bit of a break on that. The band was really tight. The backdrop, the lighting show was fantastic. And, man, I was just super thankful after being in at MCO for nearly 14 hours and just living on a prayer that I was going to catch my flight out. Flew out a day early, because I'm like, just in case anything happens. But we made it. We did it. And there to be in the city for World Cup fever as well, man. I just got to tell you real quick on this. The very next day after World Cup, we had to run down to the Bull on Wall Street because, of course, every fan of Spain was lined up. It was like a mile line long to run up and touch the golden horns of the big bull there in the financial district. And just the energy was just freaking crazy all over the city. And beautiful time. Then got to finish it up by getting a seat on the Daily Show. Yeah, we got to go
look at you.
sit in the live audience with that. Yeah, not too shabby. So loved the city. It was a fantastic time.
Let's bring it back here. Sip and Savor is going on. A lot of great stuff. So tell people what's happening at Maxine's.
Yeah. So tonight, and again, everybody, as we all know, we always like to say that during the summertime, we're all looking for opportunities for you to get little getaways or staycations or foodie vacations. And this is a wonderful event that goes on around the country, and it is called Sip and Savor. And what it is, it's presented in all the Main Street districts in major cities around the country. And what it does is quite similar to what we just experienced with Bite 30 and what we're going to be doing with Magical Dining soon. In our case, in Mills 50 area and in the Thornton Park district, Main Street district, we're doing price fix menus. So I'm going to be running the 3-course price fix menu for $38. If any of you didn't get to come out for the Bite 30 menu, well, it's going to look a lot like that. And if you did get to come and you said, man, I'd really love to come out and try maybe another dish or two that was on there that I didn't get to on the last visit, you're going to have that opportunity. So it's a 3-course meal, $38 a person, about a 25 to 30% savings off the regular menu pricing. Tonight, man, our fresh catch is Chilean sea bass. Come on, y'all.
I love a good Chilean sea bass. I love a good Chilean sea. Yeah.
Chili, yes. And I'll even take a mediocre one, but you won't find that at our place. I promise you.
Hey-o.
The Chilean sea bass for under $40. And oh, by the way, you're going to get an appetizer and a dessert with that. We still got the Wagyu filet of sirloin going on in there in an au poivre style. Beautiful menus all the way around for you to be able to come out and enjoy. And that we'll be offering that. That's Wednesday through Saturday nights from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. Now, keep in mind, everybody, we do close this Sunday after Rejuvenation Brunch. We take a little week downtime. We like to do some deep cleaning and touch up some things and make sure that we're all really ready to go as we're rocking into season. So after Sunday night, we'll be closing, but then we do reopen on the 31st for Beam Me Up, Babe. Hey, all of you out there that have come out for our supper clubs, you're looking for a laugh. You want to get away from it all. You want to have some fun. You want to take in a little bit of a cabaret kind of thing. I mean, I'm just coming in from having gone to Broadway, got to see Hadestown and went off Broadway and saw a show there too. I'm telling you, it will pick you up. It'll make your heart feel great. Beam me up, babe. Yep. An alien that's here to scout out Earth, does her thing. She crashes to the planet. Oh, and then falls in love with this wonderful cowboy. And it's all narrated by a saloon bartender. It is going to be a great time. Any of you that have seen vaudeville shows, Roxy does a fantastic job. All kinds of great. It's going to make you laugh. You're going to have a wonderful time. We got great menu items on it. Our lobster ravioli is included on this thing. It's an all ages show, special pricing for those under 21, and then regular pricing for those that are 21 and up. So that show is going to be next Friday night, the 31st, and then on Wednesday, August 5th, you go online to MaxineSonshine.com. Right there on the homepage, you scroll on down. You're going to see the button to click on for Beam Me Up, Babe. You can check out a little bit of the review of it, the menus, how you get your tickets, that sort of thing. While you're there, you can take a look at our Sip and Savor menu as well. Make your reservations, entertainment lineups. We're looking forward to celebrating the good times of life with all of you very soon at Maxine's Sunshine. And happy summer to everybody. And it's great to be back in Orlando. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, brother. Glad you had a great time. We're back to put a wrap on the week next.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends. Ooh.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Most sports books have the Sixers now fourth betting favorite in the East. Again, LeBron James, a 2-year deal, $8 million with an option to join Philadelphia. In the end, whatever it was, maybe just the thought of joining a team with Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, and whatever you get from Joel Embiid was better than what Miami had with Giannis and Bam and whatever else was there. And in Cleveland, which, again, was an appealing roster, but now to Philadelphia.
So I got to ask, Tops.
Ring chaser.
Of course.
What?
Tops sent this out 25 minutes ago. With
Who?
LeBron.
Tops?
Tops.
Okay.
Trading card.
Yeah.
LeBron makes it official by signing his first ever 76ers trading card. One collector who purchased the base edition will receive this one-of-one autograph. So how much do you think it's going to go for?
A one-on-one autograph?
LeBron James, 24th year, Philadelphia 76ers.
I don't know. I not the area. I'll guess $2 million because someone with stupid money would throw it out there. Yeah. It makes the East, though, man. The East is loaded with storylines, man. It's going to be a crazy East for the upcoming season. So, Chris, anything big for the weekend?
Actually, I have a few days off, so spending time with the fam. I do bartend Sunday evening out at Avalon Park.
We always first tell you if you want to catch this show in podcast form, go where you get your podcast, The Beat of Sports on Demand. You can also access the video stream on our YouTube page, 96.9 The Game Orlando. We end the week telling you do something kind for someone who doesn't expect it. You'll appreciate it. You'll feel good about yourself. It is easy to be kind. Have a great weekend. Chris and I are back on Monday for The Beat of Sports.